It's Chris here with your fishing forecast for November 12th. We have a really great looking weekend of steelheading opportunities coming up with a good bit of moisture in the forecast. So if you're out this past weekend, obviously we got dumped on with a lot of snow for this time of year. It was chilly out there, but we are seeing much more mild temperatures this weekend, which is going to be melting that snow and raising water levels across the board across Ontario. Now, important to consider, you look up north, they got a lot more snow than down in around the city. That is going to be melting going into the weekend. We are also seeing some rain coming into the weekend. So down in the city along Lake Ontario shorelines, that looks to be fairly minimal, just a few millimeters before the weekend, a little bit more on Saturday evening, but that won't impact your Saturday fishing. Whereas up north, if you're looking up toward Georgian Bay and that, you're going to be seeing anywhere from 5 to 10 mils of rain a couple of days in a row before the weekend. That is going to obviously raise the water levels itself, but then also melt a lot of snow fairly rapidly. So we could be dealing with fairly high flows on some of our Georgian Bay, some of our northern sort of Lake Huron tributaries, whereas the Lake Ontario stuff looks like it's going to be a little bit more of a slow melt, something that's just going to steadily feed the rivers and bring them up to a really nice level. Regardless, all rivers are getting a good bit of rain, and that in general is going to help things out. So the timing of when you're going to want to be on each river may vary a bit, whether it's this weekend or early next week. Smaller rivers and rivers, again, further south looks like this weekend should be really prime. Northern rivers, you might want to give a few more days. Now, we were out on the rivers ourselves this last weekend. We got into a bunch of fish despite those cold water temperatures, despite some chilly fingers, but fish are around. The big change right now is that water is getting chilly, especially as snow starts melting and entering the river. That snow melt is basically at freezing temperature, and so all the rivers are going to be running pretty cold. What that means is you're going to want to adopt your winter sort of patterns when it comes to fishing, and that means, first off, fish location is going to be much slower water than what we've been fishing. We've been getting fish in heads of pools and riffles and even pocket water and that kind of thing. Some rivers where you do see later run fish, thinking of rivers like the Maitland, like the Big Head, the Niagara, those fish are used to heavy currents and they're used to later season runs, and so they have a little bit more energy even in the cold water. But a lot of our rivers where fish are used to coming in earlier in the season, they tend to get a little more lethargic this time of year. And so you're going to want to target, deeper pools. Tailouts of pools are great where that water does slow down a little more. Whether you're nymphing, centerpaying, swinging flies, that is the water that you're going to want to really be focusing on. Of course, fish, especially after a rain, if that river is just on the drop, those fish are firing through, they could be sitting anywhere, but really target that softer water this time of year. Similarly, when it comes to your fishing methods, start to slow things down. So if you're nymphing or centerpaying, fish a little more methodically. Don't be in so much of a rush to brush through water. Make sure you really give yourself a chance and run a bunch of drifts through a piece of water before moving on. And if you're swinging flies, make sure to fish some heavier sink tips and some flies that are going to swing a little slower and deeper for you. Egg patterns still going to work really well. Muted colors, soft pinks, whites, really good this time of year. Worms, as we've talked about in the colder months, really come into their own. If you're swinging flies, darker colors typically are the go-to as things get colder and light gets lower. So blacks, purples, blues, really hot colors this time of year. Definitely want to fish a lot of those. As always, if you need any help figuring out where to go this weekend or what fish, get in touch. We'll be happy to help you out. We'll see you on the water.